The sky over Virelia 7 was a dark canvas streaked with fire and smoke. The remnants of distant explosions painted the clouds in red and orange, as if the planet itself was bleeding. On the ground, the battlefield stretched endlessly, littered with craters, twisted metal, and broken machinery. Human soldiers and alien allies moved cautiously, their armored boots crunching against the shattered earth. Somewhere in the distance, the enemy's war machines roared, shaking the ground with every step. Alex Mercer stood at the edge of the battlefield, helmet tucked under one arm, eyes scanning the chaos. He was a human engineer, small compared to most of the soldiers and officers around him. But his mind was sharp, quick, and trained to see solutions where others saw problems. Around him, alien engineers were already working on damaged battlesuits, their multi-limbed forms bending and twisting with precision. But despite their skill, the suits refused to function properly. Alex knelt beside a fallen mech suit, its armored plates scorched and dented from repeated blasts. He traced a finger over a fracture line, noticing something the others had missed. "The stabilizer is misaligned," he muttered to himself. "If I reroute the energy conduit here, it might hold under pressure." A shadow fell across him, and he looked up to see Commander Lyra approaching. She was tall, her purple-hued skin shimmering under the smoke-filled sky. Her eyes were sharp and calculating, scanning Alex as if trying to measure him by instinct alone. "Only the human engineer fixed this armor," she said softly, almost to herself. Then, slowly, she turned her gaze to Alex, studying him as though she were weighing the worth of a tiny creature before a great predator. Alex straightened. "I fix what others cannot," he replied calmly. His voice was steady, unshaken by the implied challenge in her tone. Lyra tilted her head. "Others have tried. Many have failed. Why do you succeed where they do not?" Alex smiled faintly. "I don't just follow instructions. I adapt, I improvise. Sometimes that makes all the difference." She raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Instead, she gestured toward the rest of the battlefield, where soldiers in malfunctioning suits were struggling to stay upright. "You have little time. Our forces are stretched. If your repair fails..." Her voice trailed off, leaving the threat unspoken but heavy in the air. Alex moved to the damaged suit with deliberate speed. "It won't fail," he said, though he knew the odds were against him. He opened the suit's chest plate, revealing a complex network of conduits, circuits, and micro-actuators. Most alien engineers would approach the task mechanically, following schematics and calculations. Alex, however, relied on instinct as much as knowledge. He could see patterns in the chaos, notice flaws invisible to others, and improvise repairs that made the suit stronger than it was before. As he worked, small sparks flew from damaged circuits and a hiss of escaping hydraulics filled the air. He ignored it, focused entirely on finding the right alignment for the armor's stabilizer. Hours or maybe minutes time had already blurred, past intense silence. Around him, the sounds of battle rumbled like distant thunder. Finally, Alex straightened. "It's ready," he said, wiping sweat from his brow. The armor hummed with renewed energy, its systems responding perfectly to his adjustments. He tested a few movements and the suit obeyed smoothly, amplifying his motions without hesitation. Lyra stepped closer, her eyes wide with something close to admiration. "I see, human intuition is remarkable," she admitted, though the words felt strange on her tongue. "You do not merely repair, you enhance," Alex shrugged modestly. "I do what needs to be done." His eyes scanned the battlefield, noting every detail. The soldiers who would wear this suit were counting on him, and he refused to fail them. Suddenly, an alarm blared. A squad of enemy drones had broken through the outer defenses, heading straight for the front lines. Alex's heart quickened, but he did not panic. Instead, he grabbed a control panel, rerouting power to the suit's shield generators. The armor's plating shimmered, forming a barrier that would hold against the drone's assault. Lyra watched in silence, noting how calmly Alex worked under pressure. Most aliens would hesitate, calculating risk and efficiency, but humans, this one, at least acted with a combination of foresight and adaptability that was rare in her experience. The drones advanced, their weapons glowing ominously. A squad of soldiers in the repaired armor moved forward, their movements precise and confident. The human-engineered adjustments allowed them to dodge blasts and return fire more efficiently. Alex stayed close, monitoring the suits and making on-the-fly tweaks as needed. One drone broke through the line, its energy cannon aimed directly at a soldier. Without hesitation, Alex activated an emergency energy shield, diverting the blast harmlessly into the ground. The soldier stumbled but remained standing unharmed. Around them, the other soldiers pressed forward, encouraged by the reliability of their armor. Lyra's eyes followed the scene, her earlier skepticism fading. "Perhaps humans are more resilient than we believed," she murmured. "They survive where others falter." Alex caught her gaze but said nothing. His attention was fixed on the battlefield, calculating angles, energy flows, and structural integrity of the suits. Every movement, every decision mattered. Hours passed like minutes, and the front line began to stabilize. The repaired armor held under pressure, allowing the soldiers to reclaim lost ground. Slowly, the tide of battle shifted, and Alex allowed himself a small measure of relief. He had done his part, but the war was far from over. Lyra approached him again, slower this time, as if each step measured her thoughts. She stopped beside him and studied the damaged but functional armor. "You have done what no other engineer could. The battlefield is safer because of you," Alex nodded. "It is not just me. It is the soldiers who wear the armor. They trust it and they trust each other. I only give them a chance to survive." For a long moment, Lyra said nothing. Then she spoke, her voice quieter this time, almost hesitant. "Humans are extraordinary. Perhaps there is more to your species than we realized." Alex allowed a faint smile. He did not need her praise. Humans were used to being underestimated, and he had learned long ago that actions mattered far more than words. Still, he sensed a shift, a growing respect that might change the course of the conflict in subtle ways. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the battlefield in shadows and gold, Alex looked over the horizon. The enemy was still out there, waiting, calculating. The war would not be won today or even tomorrow. But for now, one small corner of the battlefield was held, and it was held by humans, ingenuity and courage. Lyra's eyes lingered on him once more. "Only the human engineer," she whispered again. This time the words were filled with a strange mixture of awe and hope. Slowly she turned and moved toward the command center, leaving Alex to watch the horizon, ready for whatever came next. In the distance, the first stars began to appear, shining faintly through the smoke and haze. Alex took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He was just one human, small and fragile by alien standards, but in that moment, he understood the truth of the universe. Sometimes it was not size, strength, or numbers that mattered. It was the spark of ingenuity, the courage to act, and the determination to survive. And for the soldiers who depended on him, Alex Mercer would be that spark. The hum of machinery echoed through the makeshift repair bay. Sparks flew occasionally as alien engineers worked meticulously on battle suits, their multi-limbed forms bending in ways Alex could never manage. But despite their skill, most suits refused to function properly. Plates warped, energy conduits misaligned, and shields flickered unpredictably. Each failure was a silent reminder of the stakes. Alex Mercer rolled up his sleeves and knelt beside another heavily damaged suit. The armor's once polished surface was scorched and dented from repeated attacks. Inside, wires were frayed, circuits fried, and micro-actuators jammed. Any normal engineer, alien or human, would have considered it hopeless. "This one's tricky," Alex muttered under his breath. He ran his fingers along the fracture lines, tracing the flow of energy like reading a map. Other engineers had tried to repair it, but each attempt left the armor weaker than before. Alex could see why. They relied solely on calculations, rigid logic, and routine methods. Humans, he thought, needed a touch of creativity, a spark of improvisation. A shadow fell over him, and Alex looked up to see Commander Lyra again. She had been observing quietly, her arms crossed, her sharp purple eyes narrowed in scrutiny. "Do you really think you can fix that?" she asked, her voice calm but carrying the weight of doubt. Alex smiled faintly, almost without pride. "It won't fix itself," he said. "I just need to see what it wants." Lyra frowned, clearly confused. "What it wants?" Alex didn't answer immediately. He tapped gently on a circuit board, feeling the hum of residual energy. "Machines, even advanced ones like this, have patterns," he explained. "Sometimes you don't force them. You guide them." Lyra's head tilted slightly. She had never heard this perspective from any engineer before. Most relied on data, algorithms, and rigid procedures. Humans, they seemed different, unpredictable, and yet effective. Alex opened the suit's chest plate and peered inside. The stabilizer was twisted, a small but critical component that controlled energy flow throughout the armor. The alien engineers had tried to realign it multiple times, but every attempt failed. Alex studied it carefully, then reached for a small tool from his kit, a human-made improvisation, simple yet precise. "You know," Lyra said quietly, "this failure, it has cost us lives." Alex's fingers paused briefly. "I know," he replied, "which is why I don't intend to fail again." He worked methodically, rerouting tiny conduits, adjusting micro-actuators, and reinforcing energy channels with components no alien engineer had dared to combine. His movements were almost surgical, precise but also guided by intuition. The suit began to hum softly, a sign that its systems were responding. Lyra stepped closer, unable to hide her curiosity. "You are unlike any human I have seen," she murmured. "You do not follow rules blindly. You adapt." Alex glanced at her briefly. "Rules don't always apply in battle," he said simply. Then, without another word, he focused on the armor again. Suddenly, an alarm blared through the repair bay. Alex's heart skipped a beat. A squad of enemy drones had broken through the outer defenses, moving fast toward the front lines. The sound was sharp, urgent, a reminder that time was short. "We need that armor operational now," Lyra shouted. Alex didn't flinch. He activated the suit's core systems, feeling the flow of energy respond to his adjustments. Sparks flew as circuits connected, then stabilized. The armor hummed steadily, stronger than before. He tested a few movements, and the suit obeyed with perfect precision, amplifying strength and reflexes. Lyra watched in stunned silence. It works," she whispered. "You've made it better than it was originally designed." Alex nodded without pride. "It's ready for the field," he said. "Now it's up to the soldiers to make it count." The first soldier to wear the repaired armor stepped forward cautiously. The metal plating adjusted seamlessly to his body, the energy shields activating instantly. He moved his arms experimentally, then grinned. The suit responded flawlessly, every joint, every servo operating at peak efficiency. "Impressive," Lyra admitted quietly, her tone carrying a mix of surprise and admiration. "You humans truly are capable of things we underestimated." Alex gave a faint shrug. "We do what we must." Outside, the rumble of approaching enemy forces grew louder. Drones and war machines appeared on the horizon, their glowing weapons aimed at the Allied lines. Soldiers in newly repaired suits stood ready, their confidence bolstered by the reliability of Alex's work. Alex moved among them, making quick adjustments here and there, tweaking shield outputs, adjusting energy flow, and reinforcing joints. Each minor correction made the difference between survival and defeat. Around him, alien engineers watched in awe, taking notes silently, learning from a human who thought differently, acted differently, and saw the battlefield in ways they could not. Lyra joined him on the edge of the repair bay. "You seem calm," she said. "Even with the enemy advancing," Alex followed her gaze. "Panic won't help anyone," he said. "We adapt, we prepare, and we act. That's how humans survive." The enemy drones advanced steadily, their weapons glowing red as they prepared to strike. Soldiers in repaired armor charged forward, testing their suits under fire. Energy shields flared, deflecting blasts, while reinforced joints allowed swift, precise movements. The difference was immediate and visible. Soldiers moved with confidence, dodging attacks and countering with efficiency. One drone targeted a soldier directly. Alex quickly activated an emergency shield, diverting the blast into the ground harmlessly. The soldier stumbled but remained upright, then returned fire with deadly accuracy. Around them, other soldiers followed suit, holding the line where previously they might have fallen. Lyra observed everything, realizing that humans were more than adaptable. They were unpredictable in ways that gave them an advantage. Where other species relied on rigid training, humans relied on ingenuity and quick thinking. That unpredictability made them a dangerous and valuable ally. Alex noticed her change in expression. "You don't have to understand everything we do," he said quietly. "You just have to see it work." Lyra nodded slowly, a hint of a smile forming. "I can see it, and I respect it." The battlefield began to stabilize, the enemy drones forced back by the skill and precision of the soldiers in Alex's repaired suits. For the first time in days, the Allied forces gained ground. Alex stood among them, breathing steadily, but fully aware that the real battle was far from over. Hours passed and the front line held firm. Alex continued to monitor the armor systems, making minor adjustments and ensuring every soldier had the best chance to survive. Each correction, each tweak, reinforced the confidence of those around him. Soldiers who might have fallen under pressure now stood strong, their movements precise and controlled. Lyra approached him once again, slower this time, her eyes thoughtful. "You have done what no other engineer could," she said softly. "You have changed the battlefield." Alex looked toward the horizon where smoke and fire still marked the enemy's presence. "It is not just me," he replied. "It is the soldiers. They are the ones who fight. I only give them a chance to survive." For a long moment Lyra said nothing. Then she spoke again, quieter this time. "Humans are extraordinary. Perhaps there is more to your species than we realized." Alex allowed a faint smile. He did not need praise. Actions mattered more than words, and he knew that the next challenge would test him even further. But for now, one small corner of the battlefield was held. One small victory had been won, not by brute force, but by ingenuity, adaptability. The battlefield stretched endlessly, a broken landscape of craters, shattered machines, and scattered debris. Smoke rose in twisting columns as fires burned in the distance, painting the sky in streaks of orange and red. Human and alien soldiers moved cautiously among the wreckage, their footsteps crunching against ruined earth. Every sound, the whirring of drones, the hum of damaged machinery, the distant rumble of enemy war machines, reminded Alex Mercer that survival depended on quick thinking, skill, and courage. Alex adjusted the control panel on a repaired suit, feeling the flow of energy stabilize beneath his fingers. The soldier wearing it flexed his arms experimentally, and the suit responded perfectly. The energy shield shimmered with a soft blue light, absorbing minor impacts and flexing with his movements. The soldier smiled, nodding at Alex with gratitude. "Ready for the test?" Alex asked, his voice calm, though his mind raced. Lyra stood beside him, arms crossed, her purple eyes scanning the horizon. "Do humans always perform under pressure?" she asked, skepticism still lingering in her tone. Alex gave a faint smile. "We survive because we must. That is our pressure." The first wave of enemy drones approached, sleek and fast, their weapons glowing ominously. The soldiers moved forward, testing their repaired armor under fire. Energy shields flared, deflecting blasts. Joints and servos performed flawlessly, giving the soldiers agility and strength they had never experienced before. Alex watched, heart steady but alert, ready to make adjustments in real time. A drone fired directly at a soldier wearing his repaired armor. Alex's hands moved instinctively, rerouting power to the shield. The blast hit, sparks flew, and the soldier barely flinched. He turned, aiming his weapon with deadly precision, and struck back at the drone. Around them, other soldiers moved, in perfect coordination, taking advantage of the enhanced armor. Lyra's eyes widened. "Your engineering. It gives humans an edge I did not expect," she said quietly. "You are extraordinary." Alex nodded without pride. "I do my best. The rest is up to them." The enemy deployed a new weapon, a towering war machine bristling with energy cannons and advanced sensors. Its arrival caused a ripple of tension across the Allied line. This was no ordinary foe. It moved with precision, firing multiple beams simultaneously, capable of taking down several soldiers at once. "Everyone, brace yourselves," a commanding officer shouted. Alex didn't panic. He scanned the war machine, analyzing weak points, energy flows, and mechanical patterns. While other engineers and soldiers hesitated, he already formulated a plan. The human mind, he thought, was more flexible than any programmed calculation. He signaled to the soldiers in repaired suits. "Use the terrain, split its focus, attack in sequence, don't just react, predict." Soldiers moved as he directed, dodging blasts, taking cover behind craters, and returning fire in calculated bursts. The war machine roared, its beams tearing through the battlefield, but Alex's adjustments kept the armor responsive and shields strong. Lyra fought alongside them, her initial skepticism replaced with admiration. She had never seen a human remain calm in such chaos, orchestrating actions not with brute force but with intellect and adaptability. Perhaps humans are not fragile, she muttered under her breath. Perhaps they are something more. The war machine advanced steadily, targeting soldiers one by one. Alex spotted an opening, a subtle misalignment in its armor, invisible to others. He shouted instructions, guiding the soldiers toward a coordinated strike. Using their enhanced suits, they aimed precise energy blasts at the weak point. Sparks flew and the machine staggered, smoke curling from damaged circuits. Alex didn't stop. He noticed another flaw. The weapon system's core energy relay was exposed for a brief moment with each attack cycle. Timing was crucial. "Now!" he shouted. Soldiers fired simultaneously, striking the relay with pinpoint accuracy. The machine convulsed, its weapons failing, and it collapsed in a cascade of sparks and falling metal. A cheer rose from the Allied line. For the first time in days, hope felt tangible. Soldiers in repaired armor stood taller, confidence radiating from their movements. Alex, however, remained vigilant. He knew the war was far from over. This victory was small, fragile, and temporary. Lyra approached him amidst the aftermath, her armor scuffed, her expression thoughtful. "You humans, your courage is remarkable," she said. "But it is more than courage. It is ingenuity, adaptability, and something else I cannot name." Alex glanced at her. "We survive by learning, by thinking fast, by trusting each other. That is the human way." Her eyes lingered on him. "You have shown me the value of your species in ways I could not have imagined. Perhaps humanity is essential to this war." Alex nodded. "Perhaps, but essential or not, we do what must be done to protect those around us." The battle was not over. More enemy forces approached, testing the limits of both humans and aliens alike. Alex moved among the soldiers, making small adjustments to shields and energy conduits. Each minor tweak enhanced their survival chances. A squad of soldiers advanced toward another enemy group, their suits performing flawlessly thanks to Alex's earlier work. One soldier stumbled under a heavy blast, but the armor absorbed the impact, and he regained his footing, pressing forward. Another soldier's shield flickered under concentrated fire, and Alex instantly rerouted power to stabilize it. The humans and aliens fought as a unit, coordinated, adaptable, and effective. Lyra observed, silently acknowledging that human engineering had shifted the battlefield's balance. She had always believed in precision, discipline, and calculation. Now she saw that unpredictability, courage, and creativity could outweigh rigid perfection. Humans were proving that sometimes ingenuity mattered more than raw power. The enemy's remaining drones retreated, regrouping for a larger attack. Alex looked toward the horizon where the shadows of massive war machines moved like predators. "We've held them off for now," he said. "But they'll come back, and when they do, we must be ready." Lyra nodded, a rare smile on her face. "I will follow your lead. I see now that humans can change the tide of battle in ways other species cannot." Alex adjusted a panel on a nearby suit, checking energy levels and stabilizers. "It is not about following me," he said. "It is about adapting, using what we have in ways others would not dare. That is how humans survive." The Allied soldiers prepared for the next wave, moving with renewed confidence. They had seen the power of human ingenuity firsthand, and it had inspired them. Even alien troops who had once doubted human capability now looked to Alex and the repaired armor with respect. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the battlefield glowed in the fading light. Fires burned, machines smoldered, and smoke hung heavy in the air. Yet in the midst of destruction there was hope, a fragile, resilient hope built on courage, adaptability, and the spark of human ingenuity. Alex Mercer stood at the center, calm and vigilant, ready for whatever the enemy might throw next. He was one human, small in stature and fragile by alien standards, yet capable of shaping the outcome of battles through thought, skill, and daring action. Lyra approached him once more, her expression a mixture of admiration and contemplation. "You have changed the way I see humans," she said softly. "Perhaps your species is not to be underestimated." Alex allowed a faint smile. "We survive because we must," he replied, "and we protect those around us whenever we can. That is what makes humans human." The battlefield had quieted, though the air remained tense with the distant hum of enemy forces regrouping. Fires smoldered among the craters, and the scent of scorched metal lingered. Alex Mercer walked among the soldiers, inspecting their suits, checking energy levels, and making minor adjustments. The human-engineered armor had performed flawlessly during the last encounter, giving soldiers an unexpected advantage. Lyra followed closely, her expression thoughtful. She had spent years commanding troops, relying on strict strategies and precise calculations. Yet today she had witnessed something she could not ignore. Humans, unpredictable and adaptable, had changed the course of battle not with raw power alone, but with ingenuity and courage. "You have done more than repair armor." "Alex," Lyra said, her voice quiet but steady, "you have changed the way our forces operate." Alex glanced at her, brushing dirt from his sleeves. "I repair, yes, but the soldiers? They are the ones who make it work. They fight. I just give them the tools to survive." Lyra studied him, clearly impressed. "You think like a strategist, yet you are not a commander. You understand the flow of battle in ways few can." Alex smiled faintly. "Humans have a way of seeing possibilities where others see limits. It is not magic, it is observation, experience, and quick thinking. That's all." Around them, alien engineers began to observe Alex's methods carefully. Notes were being taken, circuits studied, and adjustments documented. Many of them had never considered that intuition, creativity, and improvisation could enhance the efficiency of technology. Alex's approach was changing their perspective, teaching them that logic alone was not always enough. Lyra led Alex to a temporary command center, where holographic maps of the battlefield hovered in the air. Lines of troop movements, positions of enemy forces, and projected attacks were displayed in glowing blue. Commander officers from multiple species were gathered, debating strategies and tactics. Most of them were rigid, relying on calculations, probabilities, and known variables. Alex, however, noticed patterns they had missed, gaps in the enemy's formation and opportunities for creative maneuvers. He stepped forward, pointing to a section of the map. "The enemy expects a frontal assault. They focus on numbers, not adaptability. If we send a small unit through the valley here," he indicated a narrow canyon, "they can flank the enemy and disable the energy relay before it reaches full power." A murmur ran through the officers. One alien commander frowned. "That is risky. The terrain is uneven. Many will be lost." Alex shook his head. "They won't be lost if we adjust their armor and shields in real time. If we rely on adaptability rather than rigidity, we can minimize casualties and gain a strategic advantage." Lyra's eyes met his. "You are suggesting a tactic based on human adaptability." Alex nodded. "Exactly. Predictable strategies fail against unpredictable opponents. We use human ingenuity to create opportunities others cannot see." The room fell silent for a moment. Then slowly alien officers began nodding, recognizing the truth in Alex's words. Even Lyra allowed a faint smile. For the first time, humans were not just participants, they were essential partners in strategy, their unique thinking reshaping the Alliance's approach to battle. Over the next hours, Alex worked alongside engineers and soldiers to prepare the plan. Suits were enhanced with minor adjustments, shields reinforced, and mobility increased. Soldiers trained briefly, testing new maneuvers and coordination tactics. Alex guided them patiently, explaining how small shifts in movement, energy flow, and timing could mean the difference between life and death. Lyra observed quietly, her respect growing. Humans were not just brave. They were inventive, quick-thinking, and capable of seeing solutions beyond the rigid constraints of traditional military logic. It was a revelation. As night fell, the battlefield was calm but tense. The enemy was still out there, hidden by darkness, calculating, waiting for the right moment to strike. Alex moved among the soldiers one last time, checking their armor and adjusting systems for optimal performance. You do not sleep? Lyra asked, her voice cutting through the quiet hum of machinery. Alex shook his head. Sleep can wait. Preparation cannot. Every second counts. If the enemy finds a weakness, we must be ready. She nodded, understanding. Humans had a way of balancing risk with adaptability, of seeing opportunities even in the darkest situations. It was something the aliens had not truly understood until now. Suddenly, alarms blared. The enemy was advancing faster than expected. Their forces moved stealthily under the cover of night, testing the Alliance's defenses. Soldiers rushed to their positions, armor humming with energy, shields flaring in anticipation of impact. Alex stayed calm, moving between squads, checking energy levels, reinforcing shields, and adjusting mobility settings. Each soldier he touched became more confident, their movements precise and controlled. The human-engineered armor gave them an edge, but it was Alex's guidance, quick thinking, and understanding of the battlefield that made the difference. Lyra stood beside him, watching as soldiers deployed with confidence. Your influence is clear, she said softly. They trust you and it makes them stronger. Alex nodded. Trust is earned in action, not words. Soldiers must believe in themselves and their equipment. Without that, even the strongest armor is useless. The enemy attacked with a combination of drones and war machines. Energy beams streaked across the battlefield, lighting up the night sky. Soldiers moved as Alex instructed, flanking enemy units, coordinating attacks, and using terrain to their advantage. One enemy war machine targeted a group of soldiers. Alex adjusted their suit's energy distribution, redirecting power to shields and servos. The soldiers moved smoothly, dodging blasts and returning fire with precision. The war machine faltered under their coordinated assault, sparks flying from its damaged circuits. Lyra fought alongside them, her movements precise and efficient. She had learned quickly to adapt to human strategies, and the combination of alien discipline and human ingenuity was formidable. Humans, you are exceptional, she muttered as they advanced. Alex focused on the battlefield, eyes scanning for the next weakness. This is not about being exceptional, he said quietly. It is about using what you have in ways others do not. The Allied forces pressed forward, holding their ground against the enemy's relentless assault. Soldiers in repaired armor moved with confidence, using ingenuity to outmaneuver opponents. Even alien troops, initially skeptical, began to adapt, inspired by the humans' creativity and courage. Hours passed, and the battle gradually turned. The enemy began to retreat, their forces disrupted by the unpredictability of human tactics. Alex guided the soldiers in exploiting openings, disabling war machines, and securing critical positions. The battlefield shifted in favor of the Alliance, all because humans had applied ingenuity where others relied on brute force or rigid planning. As the dust settled, Lyra approached Alex once more. Her expression was one of deep respect. You have changed the way I see humans, she said softly. You are not only engineers or soldiers, you are innovators, thinkers, and leaders in your own way. Alex allowed a faint smile. We survive and protect others. That is our way. We adapt, we improvise, and we act. That is what makes humans human. Around them, soldiers celebrated quietly, repairing minor damages and checking their equipment. The battlefield was scarred, but the Alliance had gained a victory, not just through strength but through ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. Lyra looked at the horizon, her eyes thoughtful. Your species is truly remarkable. Perhaps the galaxy has underestimated humanity for far too long. Alex nodded, gazing at the stars beginning to appear above. Perhaps, but being underestimated can be an advantage. We learn, we adapt, and we survive. That is enough for now. The quiet after the alien homeworld stretched before the Allied fleet like a jagged jewel in space. Its surface was scarred from countless battles. Mountains twisted, rivers of molten metal running across its plains. The enemy forces were unlike any the galaxy had faced, highly organized, heavily armed, and confident in their technological superiority. Alex Mercer stood on the bridge of the human-alien command vessel, scanning holographic displays of the battlefield below. Soldiers in newly repaired suits were ready, engines humming, shields charged, and energy weapons primed. Beside him, Commander Lyra studied the data, her expression a mixture of caution and curiosity. You are calm, she remarked, her voice carrying the weight of thousands of battle-hardened experiences. The enemy is formidable, Many would hesitate. Alex shook his head. Calmness is a choice. Panic doesn't help anyone. We survive because we adapt and we act. That is all that matters. Lyra studied him quietly, recognizing the same spark she had seen countless times before, the spark of human ingenuity. Where others relied on strength or strict logic, humans like Alex relied on creativity, intuition, and courage. That combination had already shifted battles in their favor. The first wave of enemy defenses appeared. Massive war machines moved across the planet's surface, scanning for weaknesses. Drones swarmed, their weapons glowing as they prepared for attack. Alex moved to the tactical panel, his fingers dancing across controls, adjusting energy flows and recalibrating shields in real time. Soldiers, follow the human engineer's guidance, Alex shouted. His voice carried over comms, calm but commanding. Adapt to the terrain, use your shields wisely and exploit their weaknesses. Predict their moves, they expect the predictable. Be unpredictable, the soldiers obeyed. Every maneuver, every coordinated strike was calculated yet flexible. The energy shields of the repaired armor flared in bursts, absorbing enemy blasts while conserving energy. Joints and servos performed flawlessly, amplifying strength and agility. Where other species struggled with rigid coordination, the humans and their allies moved like a living machine, fluid and adaptive. Lyra moved among the soldiers, observing closely. She had always trusted precision, discipline, and probability. But now she saw that the human way, intuitive, creative, and flexible, was equally, if not more, effective. Humans could improvise under pressure, creating opportunities where none seemed to exist. A massive enemy war machine appeared at the center of their formation. Its energy cannons charged, glowing ominously, ready to annihilate anyone in its path. Soldiers froze for a moment, uncertainty flashing in their eyes. Alex didn't hesitate. He scanned the machine, noting its armor patterns, energy cycles, and vulnerable relays. Focus on its core energy relay, he shouted. Drones distract it. Small teams move in from the flanks. Timing is critical. The soldiers split into squads as Alex instructed. Drones moved to occupy enemy sensors while flanking teams advanced, shields flickering under concentrated fire. Alex monitored every step, rerouting power to shields and stabilizers as needed. His mind processing hundreds of calculations at once, but always with flexibility. Always ready to adapt to unexpected changes. Lyra fought alongside the soldiers, her movements precise and fluid. She adjusted tactics in real time, influenced by Alex's guidance. Where rigid logic might have failed, human intuition succeeded. The flanking team reached the energy relay. Sparks flew as they engaged the machine's defense systems. One soldier's shield faltered, but Alex instantly rerouted power, stabilizing it. Another soldier's weapon jammed, and Alex's adjustments allowed it to fire again without pause. Within moments, the relay was exposed. Now, Alex shouted. Every soldier fired simultaneously. Energy beams struck the relay, and the massive war machine convulsed, sparks flying from overloaded circuits. Its weapons failed, and it collapsed in a shower of molten metal and smoke. A cheer rose from the Allied line. Humans and aliens alike had witnessed what seemed impossible. Ingenuity and courage overcoming raw technological superiority. But the battle was not over. Enemy reinforcements were moving quickly, determined to reclaim the advantage. Alex knew that every second counted. He scanned the battlefield, noting weaknesses, vulnerabilities, and patterns that only an adaptive mind could perceive. Adjust shields. Redirect energy to the lower limbs of the armor, he commanded. Soldiers moved as one, their suits responding instantly to his guidance. Drones fell, war machines staggered, and the tide of battle shifted further in their favor. Lyra watched Alex in awe. Your species, humans. You do not simply fight. You create opportunities. You turn disadvantage into strength. You are remarkable. Alex glanced at her briefly. We survive because we must, and we protect those around us whenever we can. That is what makes us human. The enemy leader, a massive armored alien, appeared on the battlefield, directing the remaining forces with precision. Its confidence was unshakable, until Alex noticed a subtle flaw in its armor pattern, a micro gap repeated in every movement cycle. Target the joint under the left shoulder, Alex instructed. It repeats with every attack. Predictable even for them. Soldiers hesitated for a moment, then executed the maneuver flawlessly. energy blasts struck the joint, disabling the leader's control systems. Confusion spread among the enemy ranks and their forces began to falter. Lyra turned to Alex, her eyes wide. I underestimated humans. Perhaps for too long. Alex nodded, eyes still fixed on the battlefield. Underestimation can be an advantage. We learn, adapt, and act. That is enough for now. With coordinated precision, the Allied forces pressed the attack. Soldiers in repaired suits moved fluidly across the battlefield, shields absorbing blasts, weapons striking precisely, and drones keeping enemy defenses distracted. War machines fell, energy relays were destroyed, and the enemy's strategy unraveled. The final push was underway. Alex guided the soldiers to secure key positions, disable energy systems, and protect the flanks. Every move was calculated yet flexible, predictable yet creative. It was human ingenuity applied under the most extreme pressure. Lyra fought at his side, witnessing the full impact of humans in action. Your species is not fragile. You are adaptable, inventive, and courageous beyond measure, she said. Alex gave a faint smile, though he did not pause. We do what we must, he said. And we survive, for ourselves and for those around us. Finally, after hours of relentless fighting, the enemy's forces were in retreat. Their war machines were disabled, their drones destroyed, and their leadership compromised. The battlefield was scarred, but victory had been achieved, not through raw power alone, but through adaptability, ingenuity, and courage. As the dust settled, Alex Mercer walked among the soldiers, checking on their suits, repairing minor damages and ensuring stability. Every soldier he touched felt a renewed confidence, a sense that they could overcome any challenge. Humans had proven that in the galaxy, creativity and courage could triumph over technological superiority. Lyra approached him one last time, her expression filled with awe and respect. Only the human engineer could have achieved this, she said softly. Your ingenuity, your courage, it has changed the course of this war. Alex nodded, letting a small smile appear. It is not about being the only one. It is about giving everyone a chance to survive. That is what humans do. We adapt, we create, and we act when others hesitate. Around them, soldiers celebrated quietly, repairing equipment, checking armor, and tending to the wounded. The galaxy had witnessed the full potential of humanity, not just as soldiers, not just as engineers, but as thinkers, innovators, and protectors. Lyra looked at the horizon, where stars shimmered above the scorched landscape. The galaxy has underestimated humans for far too long, she murmured. They are not to be ignored again. Alex stood tall, gazing at the stars. He was just one human, small and seemingly fragile in a galaxy of towering advanced species. Yet in this moment, his ingenuity and courage had turned the tide of war. He had proven that sometimes it was not strength, numbers, or technology that mattered. It was the spark of human creativity, the courage to act, and the determination to survive. And for the soldiers,